This is our COVID-19 coronavirus community update for Thursday, April the 30th. Yesterday, as of 2 p.m., and I say yesterday because the state has not released today's numbers yet. We were told they were going to be delayed and released at 3 p.m., but as of our coming on the air, they still had not been released. I know that's very frustrating for you, as it is us, but all we can do is report the numbers that were given to us by the state. Our total number of confirmed positive in Putnam County yesterday was 119, which was 7 more than the previous day. Of the 119 cases, 81 or 68% of those have already recovered. Our recovery rate in Putnam County is much better than the state average of about 50%. We have also had 5 deaths. All 5 of those deaths were from Signature Healthcare. Please keep those families in your thoughts and prayers. So let's again break down our numbers. In the past week, we've had about 18 additional positives that we know of using yesterday's numbers, which is not too bad, especially when you take in consideration the large number of people we are testing in Putnam County. This week alone at the health department's drive-through through today, 679 people have been tested for a total of over 1,500 in the past 10 days, which is a large number for a county our size. Since March 19th, our Putnam County Health Department has tested 2,543 people. I want to take a moment and say a special thank you to all the health department professionals and National Guard who have been working on the front line during the testing. Great job, everyone. Let's talk a little more about the testing. The more people we test, the more people we find that have the virus and get put into quarantine and can't affect anyone else. So there is a bright side to all of the testing. Also, we're doing a lot more testing compared to other counties our size and even several counties larger than us. Our drive-through testing is available at the Putnam County Health Department on County Services Drive. It is open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. If you want to be tested, just drive by. They're testing anyone that wants to be tested regardless of where you live. The test is free. We encourage you to go by and be tested if you're concerned that you may have the virus or just want the peace of mind that you don't have the virus. You can drive through the drive-through. You do not have to get out of your vehicle. They will come to your car, perform the test, and then you get the results normally in 24 to 48 hours. So just remember, as testing keeps increasing, so will the number of positives, but it gets those people off the streets and into quarantine. Testing is a good thing. I'm not trying to downplay our numbers, just want to be as transparent as possible so that you understand the testing and the positives as we go forward. Also remember that 51 of the positives were at Signature Healthcare. 32 patients and 19 staff tested positive back when everyone in the facility was tested. According to Lee Rooney, CEO of Signature, this morning, they have had no new positives in the past 19 days, and 34 of those 51 positives have already recovered, with 5 more recoveries expected this week. We're hearing from the governor's task force that facility-wide testing may be coming for all nursing homes in the future. Lee, the administrator at Signature, was way ahead of the game on this, and I continue to applaud him for the way he handled his facility. The other counties in the Upper Cumberland that have confirmed positives, and remember these are yesterday's numbers because we do not have new numbers yet today from the state. Cannon County had 11, Clay County had 5, Cumberland County had 74, DeKalb had 14, Fentress had 4, Jackson had 7, Macon 39, Overton County 8, Smith County 20, Van Buren County 2, Warren County 7, and White County had 6. Again, Putnam County, as of yesterday, had 119 confirmed cases, which was 6 more than yesterday. Again, remember, the state has not released their numbers for today, so we cannot give you any updated numbers other than what we had from yesterday. Again, we cannot report anything that we have not confirmed with the state. Mayor Shelton?
Yes, thanks. We've said to follow the directives and take personal responsibility and heed the guidance from the experts, and most of all, use common sense so that you can protect yourself and your family and everyone else. The fact is, we all still have freedom to follow directives or freedom not to, and potential consequences of our actions. Everyone also has the right to their opinion and beliefs. We must manage and mitigate health and safety of our people while we open back up our economy and businesses and get our people back to work safely. As things begin to open, remember, you still have the freedom to choose. You can choose to shop there or not, and you can choose to eat there or not. If you don't think it's safe or you don't think the location is being socially responsible, don't go. Or if you want to avoid crowds, then that is exactly what you should do. Stay home, utilize takeout if you would like to do that. Governor Lee has issued several executive orders opening back up parts of our economy. Again, we can only report what we are getting from the governor's office. I know there are lots of questions, but please realize we don't have all the answers either. We have lots of questions. We can only go by the information we are given. Please remember that the governor issued the executive orders to close the businesses, so the governor is the only person that can open businesses back up. And despite what you may see or hear from surrounding counties, no city or county mayor has the legal authority to overturn a governor's executive order. So, according to the governor's guidelines, restaurants, retail, and fitness facilities are now open at 50% capacity with extensive safety guidelines, which we've shared. Also, barbers, beauticians, nail salons, tanning, and massage therapists will open next Wednesday, May the 6th. Guidance and directives for dental offices will also be made available on May 6th, what their protocols will look like. If you have specific questions related to your industry, please call the governor's office at 615-741-2001. They will hopefully be able to share that information. These are some of the steps needed to provide a safe environment for employees and customers that they have outlined. Now, as far as the city, the governor's orders list areas that should continue to be closed to the public at this time. Specifically named are concert venues, sporting event venues, theaters, auditoriums, performing arts centers, and similar facilities. Therefore, the following leisure services facilities will remain closed to the public except by individual appointment until June 1st. And that's the Cookeville Performing Arts Center, the History Museum, the Cookeville Depot Museum, Cane Creek Rec Center, Cane Creek Gym, Cane Creek Sportsplex and Youth Sportsplex, and Parkview Ball Fields. Services, programs, and events typically provided in those facilities will be rescheduled, canceled, or modified to be virtual experiences. Special events planned in parks will either be canceled, rescheduled, or modified to ensure proper social distancing standards are maintained. City parks have remained open for pedestrian entry throughout this shutdown. The drive-through gates at Cane Creek Park, Ensor Sink Natural Area, and City Lake Natural Area have been closed for the past few weeks, as has the Parkview Skate Park. Effective tomorrow, Friday, May 1st at 7 a.m., those gates will be opened again on a regular schedule of opening and closing for daily use. Additional signage will be posted at those facilities to encourage users to practice social distancing and to refrain from gathering in groups of 10 or more. All picnic shelter reservations at Cane Creek Park have been canceled for the month of May, and they will refund your rental fees if you call City Hall. All playgrounds, including the Heart of the City playground, will remain closed and off limits to parkgoers during this period. Also, the Dogwood Park fountain will have to remain off to avoid attracting large crowds to a condensed area of the park. At Cookeville Regional Medical Center, there are currently 11 COVID patients in the hospital ranging in age from 45 to 78. There have been no COVID deaths at CRMC. Now, let's get an update on our schools from Putnam County Superintendent Corby King.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor Porter. And again, I want to thank both of you for the guidance and the continued leadership that you both have provided for our community throughout this coronavirus pandemic and the tornado and everything we've experienced over the last couple of months. And I appreciate the opportunity to join you all here today and discuss updates from the school system. So I want to start today talking about the remote learning plan. Remote learning continues in Putnam County through May 15th. The spring semester is quickly winding down, and it's typical that students begin kind of slacking off. It's spring, it's time, weather's warming up. They're ready to end and go on for the summer. But I'm asking that students and parents please remain engaged and working with us for 2 more weeks. Studies show that students generally experience learning losses over the summer months. In the education world, we call that the summer slide. And to recover from this, students and teachers spend a few weeks reviewing material from the previous year or previous courses when we return to school each fall. It's kind of like a TV show that you watch weekly or one that has a cliffhanger at the end of a season. Before the new episode airs or a new season begins, the show airs review clips from the previous episode. So we have to do that in the fall. Well, being out for an extended period this spring, it increases our concern that students are going to experience greater learning losses. This is why we're asking you to please remain engaged in learning activities and stay with us for the next 2 weeks. In many cases, I'm hearing from parents, students and parents, that they're concerned about grades, and teachers are entering some grades in Power School. The purpose of the grades is to keep both students and parents informed about the students' understanding and the mastery of the content that they're being presented. It also gives parents an idea about the level of engagement their student is giving the teacher. There are cases where students are telling mom and dad, yeah, I'm doing the work, and it's just not happening, and this helps them stay on track. It's true that a student's grade will not be lower than it was on March 13th when we closed for spring break. Students can improve their grades or yearly averages during this time, but grades will not be lower than they were as of March 13th. However, the reasons that I mentioned previously is our focus at this time. It's more about continuous learning and preparing for next year. We want students to reduce their learning losses or the summer slide. Regardless of what the grades, we want to continue to encourage students to please stay engaged so that we're ready for next fall when we return to school. Speaking of next fall, the registration for students for the 2020-2021 school year will begin tomorrow, Friday, May 1st. For returning students, schools will send out the students' data verification forms to parents via school messenger using the email address where you receive your child's report card. Please follow the directions on the email. For new student registration, please visit our school system website, pcsstn.com, to begin the online process or to learn about the different ways to begin the registration process. We need parents to download and read the enrollment guidelines PDF before clicking the registration button on our website. School nutrition. These ladies continue to do an outstanding job, Mayor.
Unbelievable, Corbin.
It really is. And our transportation folks, as of today or through today, we have fed over 250,000 meals in our community for students. We will continue to provide meals on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays through Wednesday, May the 20th. We're going to take a short break at that time, give the ladies a little bit of a break, and then we'll come back Monday, June 1st for the summer feeding program. The scale of that will be reduced a little bit from going into the neighborhoods. It'll mirror what we've done in previous summers, and that information will come out at a later time. Now, in response to Governor Lee's Executive Order 30 that's already been referenced today, all school campuses and related activities will continue to be closed through the month of May. That's just with the exception of picking up learning packets, food pickups, or turning in the work or devices that you all have. School campuses will continue to be closed through the month of May. In unison with both Mayor Shelton and Mayor Porter and other community leaders, and based on recommendations from local health officials, we hope to begin slowly opening our campuses June 1st. On Monday, June 1st, we tend to reopen the school-age child care services for families that were previously signed up for the SAC services. A link to register for the summer program will be posted on the SAC page of the school system website, pcsstn.com. That'll be posted beginning Monday, May the 4th. There will be additional safety measures in place when we reopen, including cleaning and sanitation, drop-off and pickup procedures, and class size limitations for the program. Please remember at this time, this will only be available to families that previously used the SAC services, and we could be closed again at any time based on recommendations from the governor or local health officials. This is our intent, and our hopes right now is for June 1st. We are currently discussing the possibility of also hosting day camps throughout LEAPS and 21st Century programs beginning June 1st. If those become available, the same guidelines and restrictions that we're using for the child care programs will be in place. And additional information concerning the availability of those programs will be posted on our school system website by May 15th. Beginning June 1st, we hope to begin holding on-campus workouts and activities for athletic teams with the same restrictions and guidelines that are in place for local gyms and workout facilities. Athletic directors and coaches will work together to limit the number of participants that are in any facility at any one time to fewer than 10, sanitize equipment between users, and maintain appropriate social distancing recommendations. The TSSAA calendar will also be followed in terms of the summer dead period or any other restrictions. So if a family has a vacation planned for dead period, they'll still be able to take that vacation and not have to worry about workouts or anything for athletics. Senior class activities remain postponed at this time, and I want to continue to reiterate, postponed. We've not canceled those activities. The student and parent surveys that we sent to senior class members indicated an overwhelming desire to hold a traditional graduation ceremony and prom, if at all possible. And if at all possible, that's what we want to do.
Absolutely.
High school principals, district office staff members, and board members are continuing to discuss the possibilities for holding a traditional ceremony. And as soon as we have more information concerning these activities, we will share our plans via student emails, parent emails, and our district social media sites. We know that we're not going to be able to have those in May. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to have those in June. We may be looking at July before we can hold those traditional ceremonies, but that's still what our plans are. We're wanting to hold those activities if at all possible. The VITAL program will continue to offer online classes during the summer for high school students that need credit recovery or credit advancement to help them remain on track for graduation purposes. Those will be online only this year. All other Putnam County School System summer activities and services are canceled at this time. School system officials, we will continue to work to meet with our community leaders, both Mayor Shelton, Mayor Porter, local health officials to coordinate and host activities and reopen our campuses in line with what's happening within our community. As our community phases in services and activities, so will we. And we'll all continue to work together to continue maintaining a flatter curve in Putnam County. That's our goal. That's what we want to do in response to this coronavirus.
Absolutely.
So Mayor Porter, again, Mayor Shelton, thank you for having me up here today and the opportunity to share school system updates.
Thank you, Corby, and I want to thank you for the job that you've done. You hit the ground running as their interim school director and now as their permanent director. You've done an amazing job, and please pass along to all those people that have been involved with providing 250,000 meals to our students and families out in the county. That is absolutely amazing.
Absolutely. We're very proud of all of them and everyone that's working on this remote learning plan, our teachers, our staff members, everyone's doing a great job. Can't be more proud of them, and we're going to continue to do that into the fall.
You've got a great group of folks.
I do.
Thank you for everything. Now we're very honored to have our Congressman, Mr. John Rose, with us to share an update on the federal level. John.
Thank you, Mayor Porter. It is a great privilege to have the opportunity to join Mayor Porter and Mayor Shelton today, and I want to thank them as well as our local officials, our first responders, and all those who've been involved in guiding the local response not only to the COVID-19 crisis, but also to the tragic events of March 3rd that immediately preceded this issue. And I know that's continued to be a challenge, and my heart pours out to those who were affected by the tornadoes in early March, and my great thanks to all of our first responders across the region who came together along with so many volunteers to help respond to that event. It is a great privilege to represent the people of the 6th District of Tennessee, 713,928 people spread across 19 counties. As many of you know, I am new to elective office, serving in my first term in the U.S. House of Representatives and having spent my career in the private sector, both as a businessman and as a farmer. And it is with that experience that I have approached my duties representing you in Washington. This is an unusual time, to say the least, in the history of our country, unparalleled by any standard. For those of us who are approximately my age, we largely grew up hearing about some of the prior challenges that our country faced at those times, like the First World War, the Second World War, and the Great Depression. We find ourselves now in times that I believe are equally unprecedented in the history of our country. As has always been the case in the United States, we enjoy a form of government, a federalist form of government, a republic, where states are allowed to chart their own courses very often, and we've seen that happening in the current instance. And so the response to the COVID-19 crisis here in Tennessee is a uniquely Tennessee response. Yes, guided by some of the directives coming down from the national level and some of the guidance that's been provided by federal authorities, and certainly influenced by the resources that the federal government has brought to bear, but uniquely the response of our state and our communities, and that's the way it should be. Justice Brandeis of the Supreme Court observed more than half a century ago that we in this country enjoy laboratories for democracy, and Tennessee and Putnam County and Cookeville are just those laboratories. And so as we think about our response to this unprecedented challenge, I first, again, would commend our local officials and our state officials for the leadership that they have demonstrated throughout this response. As we know, fortunately, our country was experiencing one of the best economies in the history of the nation, certainly in my lifetime, just prior to the emergence of this crisis. And so we went into this crisis in a good place economically. And we hope that because of that, we'll be able to emerge from the crisis and return to a degree of normalcy in very quick order that will restore the economic vitality of this country. To help achieve that, the federal government has taken a number of steps, led by our president, President Donald Trump. In particular, the Congress has taken 4 steps. And these were responses that were negotiated in the Congress and with the administration to try to alleviate the harm that has been caused by the need to provide maximum social distancing, to shut down much of the economy so that there could be a period to allow for folks to be apart from one another more completely, and hopefully avert, as we've all heard, the steepness of the curve of those people being affected by the virus. And it appears to a large degree that we've achieved that. But I want to just quickly go over some of the federal response that many of you are familiar with, just to remind us what the Congress and the federal government has done. Principally, we've taken 4 major steps. They're identified generally as Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3, and Phase 3.5. The total combined cost of these steps to the American taxpayer now approaches $3 trillion. So a really unprecedented set of steps by the federal government to try to alleviate the harm that we've experienced from this crisis. To speak specifically about some of those steps and how they have perhaps impacted each of you, I would point to 2 or 3 of the main programs that probably affect the average person. One that you are probably, many of you are aware of, is that the federal government took steps to make sure that there were expanded unemployment benefits for those who unfortunately were sent home and were unemployed as a result of the crisis. The federal government has provided for extraordinary benefits, and hopefully you're being able to enjoy and receive those benefits to help you make your way through this period. One of the other programs that the federal government implemented is called the Paycheck Protection Program, and this program was designed principally to assist small businesses in keeping their employees in place throughout the crisis, whether they were furloughed or not. And the government has appropriated about $650 billion. Roughly 60% of that has already been distributed, and many of you hopefully have been able to keep your job and stay on the payroll at your current employer because of the Paycheck Protection Program. Now, we've heard a number of news reports about ways in which that program may have been misapplied, but it is important to remember that the purpose of that program was principally to assist small businesses, but mainly to assist them in maintaining their workers on their payrolls. And so, as with any government program, there are always those who take advantage of it and maybe misapply the funds that that were distributed. Certainly the program is aimed at helping small businesses, but principally at helping them keep their payrolls intact. Some of you have probably already received economic impact payments that are going to be administered by the Treasury through the Internal Revenue Service. Over $250 billion in funds that will be distributed to American taxpayers over the next several weeks to a few months. So, again, many of you who receive direct deposit may have already received those funds in your accounts. Others who do not have direct deposit will be receiving checks in the weeks to come. All of these programs, including a myriad of others, totaling, as I mentioned, almost $3 trillion, are aimed at blunting the damage to our economy from the steps that had to be taken to hopefully alleviate the worst effects of the virus. And so where do we stand now? Hopefully in the days ahead, as our states and communities take the steps to reopen, we hope to see our economy rebound. We hope to see a level of normalcy return. And so what then does the long term look like? We know that the long term for dealing with this crisis is that we need to see our health professionals and our medical researchers and our Centers for Disease Control and others take steps necessary to find solutions, hopefully ultimately a vaccine, in the shorter term treatments that will be efficacious for those who are infected with coronavirus, and ultimately, again, we hope that a vaccine is developed. In the months ahead, you will see increased testing, and this testing is designed and the goal of which is to help us make sure that when there are outbreaks of coronavirus that we become aware of those as quickly as possible and limit their spread. I want to conclude today by saying we need to keep in mind that we live in a democracy, and there is a price we pay, Mayor, for the freedoms that we enjoy. Absolutely. And sometimes that's going to mean that we've all got to step forward individually and not just look to the government for a solution. I can assure you, having spent a little more than a year in Washington in the Congress, all of the answers cannot be found in Washington, and none of us should expect that all of those answers are going to come from Washington. In fact, what has made this country great is the individual initiative that our citizens show, the individual response that our businesses are able to bring to bear, and that is going to be what makes our response here effective. That's going to be what makes our country successful in overcoming this challenge. I will conclude then by saying that my staff and I remain ready to assist you as you interface with the federal government, as you try to navigate the myriad of programs that have been put in place to help you and your businesses or your employers make it through this period. I hope you'll feel free to reach out to our office and to our staff. You can reach us by going to www.johnrose.gov or .house.gov, pardon me. If you want to call us, you can reach our Washington, D.C. office at 202-225-4231, or you can reach our Cookeville office right here in town at 931-854-9430, or if you happen to be on the western end of the 6th District, you can reach our Gallatin office at 615-206-8204. But again, you can find all of that information at johnrose.house.gov. Thank you for the opportunity to represent you in the U.S. House of Representatives, and I pledge that I and our capable staff will work hard every day to make sure that you are well represented in the U.S. House and the interests of Tennesseans and the people of the 6th District are served daily to the best of our ability. Mayor Porter, Mayor Shelton, thank you for the opportunity to join you today.
Thank you for being with us today, John, for that update, and thank you for everything you do for us as our congressman. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
When we came on at 4 o'clock, we did not have today's numbers from the state on our testing. They have now released those. So I will tell you that Putnam County, as of today, now has 121 positives, which is 2 more than yesterday, and 82 of those 121 have already recovered. So, updating you on the numbers, Putnam County now has 121 positives, which is 2 more than yesterday. On the county facilities and reopening, currently our plan is to try to reopen the county offices on Monday, May 11th. I will tell you this is a tentative date, however, and we will be monitoring the situation over the next several days and hope to make a final determination that we will give you next week. Until then, we continue to ask everyone to use our online services, drive-through and drop-off boxes as much as possible. If you need to come to one of the county offices, please call that office for an appointment. You can go to our website at putnamcountytn.gov for office phone numbers and online services. Per the governor's orders, as the city of Cookeville is, all of our sports facilities and community centers will continue to be closed until at least June the 1st. One of the concerns lately on a national level have been meat processing plants. I want to tell you about a Zoom video conference this morning I was on with Purdue Chicken Processing Plant in Monterey. I was very encouraged that the plant has taken some dramatic steps to make sure they are operating safely and doing everything they can to prevent any disease inside the plant. Temperature and medical questionnaire screening on all employees before entering the plant, all employees wearing masks, dividers between employees, social distancing, multiple forms of additional sanitizing on top of all they were already doing is in place at the plant. The Monterey plant was chosen by Purdue to do testing for the entire company on a new thermal imaging scanner for employees with scans for fever. The results so far have been really promising for the company. Bottom line, it appears the plant is doing everything it can to make sure its employees and the plant remain safe. I want to continue to remind you about our tornado cleanup. We're getting very close to being finished. As I looked over the area today, it looks like we're about 90% complete. This coming weekend, May the 2nd, will be our last weekend when it comes to volunteers helping in the area to get debris out to the right-of-way. If you own property in the tornado damage zone, we need you to try to get your debris out to the right-of-way by the street. If for whatever reason you cannot get your debris moved, please contact us at our info line, which is 646-INFO or 646-4636, and we'll try to get someone out to help you. Please help us get this info out. If you know of a property owner needing help, please get the phone number to them. The cleanup company will start its final pass on Monday, May the 4th, and expect to be finished by May the 7th. I also want to remind you, Mayor Shelton and I do, about your Census 2020 form. You can do it 3 different ways this time. You can mail it in, go online, and fill it out at 2020census.gov, or you can do it by phone by calling 844-330-2020. Currently, Putnam County's return rate is slightly higher than the state or national average, so thank you to everyone that's completed the census form. Mayor Shelton.
Yes. So, in closing, please continue to utilize precautions to protect yourself and others. Be supportive of one another. Wash your hands. Utilize physical distancing when you do go out, and make reasonable, educated, common sense decisions. As businesses now are open back up, we must change some habits so we can stay physically healthy. But remember, if you don't agree with the governor that places should be open, you have the freedom to stay home and be safe. For the most up-to-date COVID-19 information, links, and resources, you can visit bettercookeville.com. There's a COVID link. Let's continue to pray for our country and our healthcare workers and all of our small businesses and all of our employees that are now going back to work. Let's choose faith over fear. God bless.
Also, as I close, I want to say also that because things are beginning to reopen, doesn't mean you need to let your guard down. We've been preaching this for the last several weeks. As our testing is showing, there are still people out there that have the virus. Everything is not going to go back to normal overnight. It's going to take some time. This will be a process we'll have to work through. The last thing we want is for everyone to get out and do too much, too fast, and have our numbers spike where we might have to close things, or the governor might have to close things down again. Regardless of the governor's safer at home order expiring today or whatever the governor decides to reopen, we must keep doing everything we can to fight this disease. As Mayor Shelton said, if you don't feel safe going out, stay at home, especially if you have health problems that make you vulnerable. As things reopen, we need to continue to do the things we've been doing for the past several weeks, such as the social distancing, washing your hands frequently, wearing a mask, and disinfecting services. The main thing is to make good personal decisions. If you don't feel comfortable in going to a certain store, then don't go. Make good judgment decisions based on what's best for you and your family. Just to be blunt, You don't need a government order to tell you what's best for you and your family. We will get through this, but everyone has to do their part. It all comes down to each one of you, along with us, taking personal responsibility for making good judgmental decisions. Mayor Shelton and I will continue to do these live updates to keep you informed. Our goal is to get you the most up-to-date information that we can and to be as transparent as we possibly can with you about the virus and anything else we have going on in our community. That's a promise we made when we came into office. That's a promise we plan on keeping.
That's right.
Our next update will be next Tuesday, May the 5th at 4 p.m. Next Tuesday, May the 5th at 4 p.m. will be our next update unless something urgent should come up in the meantime. Please continue to keep us as your community leaders in your prayers, along with our cities, county, state, and country. May God continue to bless Putnam County.